All right. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the May 30th, 2023 Commissioners Student Advisory Council. We have a lot of new faces today, so I wanted to do a brief introduction of who I am, because I know many of you, when you did interviews, you may not have seen me. My name is Toni Cons-Tatman. I'm the Chief Communications Officer, and I have the wonderful opportunity to have the Student Advisory Council housed per se in my office here at the Department of Education. It's in the Division of Communications in the Office of the Commissioner, and by far one of the best things that I get to do each year is to work with students and help advise this council. So just wanted to let you know who I am. You'll see a lot from me over the next year. We leave the meetings and you'll see some emails from me. And if you need a work or a school excuse, just feel free to email me, and that way we can get you situated. We have a pretty full agenda today. We have the commissioner come on here in a little bit. You can see our welcome is going on. We'll do this real quick, and we're going to quickly approve our summary from the last meeting. You all should have received that in your email. So we're going to ask here for a moment for to open and to have a first and a second on those minutes. And then I'm going to do a quick roll call. And the roll call I'm going to use is just starting with the 2022-23 student advisory. So if you're here, please unmute yourself and say here, or you can use the chat. Gavin Brinning. Charlie Browning.
Here.
Hunter Combs. All right, Hunter is here. Jude Dalen.
Here.
All right, Delaney Darty. Arnav Dharmagada. Justin Dunning.
Here.
Rima Dutt. Peter Jefferson.
Here.
Nyla Johnson. Shraman Carr.
Oh, I'm here.
All right, Shraman. VJ. VJ, are you on? Don't see him. Lauren Little.
Here.
Ella Luking. Callie Oblander. Anastasia Panaretos.
Here.
Spandana Pavlari. Alexandra Perry. Tanvi Rakesh.
Here.
Chloe Ralston. Sophia Rattone. Amy Rablero Perez. Macy Spielmeyer. Luke Taylor.
Here.
Mally Taylor. Sarah Umbarger.
I'm here.
Bentley White. And Sarah Yu. All right, there we go. We have our roll call for the meeting. We'll get to the new members here in just a moment. If somebody can go ahead and review the minutes from the last meeting and make a motion to approve.
I make a motion to approve the meeting.
Okay, who is this? Jude?
Yep.
Jude has made a motion. Can I get a second?
Second.
I can second that.
Okay, somebody, whoever seconded, say name, please.
Peter Jefferson.
Peter is seconded. All in favor? Opposed? All right, hearing no opposition, our minutes have been approved. All right, our next item on the agenda is welcoming and introducing our new council members. So I'm trying to think how best to do this. We have several people on the call. Let's go ahead and move to the next slide and let's see if we can just do a little bit of an announcement. So as you know, last week, Monday, the Kentucky Department of Education selected its 2023-2024 Commissioners Student Advisory Council. We are welcoming 25 new high school students onto the advisory council. This is a very large class, a very large class because we have several departing seniors many of whom have already graduated. So I'm really excited that they're still on the call today, even though they've graduated and they're done. If I could have our seniors that are on right now, if you could enter into the chat what your plans are for the fall, that would be awesome. And then I know that we're also looking for some of your graduation photos. So I think that Audrey had mentioned getting pictures of those if you want to send those over to us. But I'd also love to hear in your chat what your plans are for the fall. We had more than 100 students apply for a spot on the advisory council this year, and certainly can read about our press release and the link on Kentucky Teacher. Next slide. So this is the list of all of our new Student Advisory Council members. And I think the best way to go about this is if you are joining us today and your name is on the list, let's go ahead and raise your hand. And then I'd love to hear you just kind of say your name, what grade you're in, what high school, and perhaps what you're looking forward to most this year. We'll start with Sophia.
Hi, I'm Sophia. I go to Paul Lawrence Dunbar High School. I'm gonna be a junior this upcoming year. I think that's all the things except, sorry, that was a lot on your list right there. But
That's okay.
I'm most looking forward to being able to meet all of the people around the state and kind of see different perspectives in the education system.
Wonderful. Welcome, Sophia. Nicholas Haslett.
Hello, I'm Nicholas Hazlett, a up-and-coming senior at Paintsville High School in Johnson County, and I'm just proud to be a part of the group to showcase Eastern Kentucky education and really what we have to offer and help everybody have a better future.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you. Seth Langford.
Hello, can you hear me?
I can.
Hi, I'm Seth. My pronouns are he, they. I'm really excited to work with you guys and see if we can make a difference.
Wonderful. Where do you go to school?
J. Graham Brown School.
Wonderful. In Jefferson County. All right. Constance Martin.
Let's see here. Hey guys, I'm Constance. I'm a rising senior at Johnson Central High School in Johnson County. I'm excited to have a fellow Johnson Countyan up here with me from Paintsville. I'm really excited to meet everyone and get to work with you all. And as Nicholas said, really showcase what Eastern Kentucky has to offer when it comes to education.
Wonderful. All right, our next one, Eliette Medina.
Hi, my name is Alieta Medina. Next year I'll be a sophomore. I'm just looking for see different opinions.
Looks like
I'm so sorry. I was talking and I realized that. My name is Alieta Medina. Next year I will be a sophomore. I'm looking for see different opinions and see how we're able to improve our community. Thank you.
welcome, welcome. India.
Hi everybody, my name is India Young. I am a
upcoming junior. I originally attended Marion County High School with Charlie, but I'll be attending the Craft Academy next year. I'm really looking forward to kind of showcasing some of the issues and also some of the things that are incredible about the Kentucky education system.
Welcome. Wonderful. Next up, we have Ian Swenson.
Hey everyone, my name is Ian Swenson and I attend Paducah Tillman High School, and I am really excited to see the perspective of everybody in the District of Kentucky.
Wonderful. Glad to have you joining us from Paducah. Next up, I have Mana Scarla.
Hi, my name is Manas. I'll be a sophomore in this school year at Western Hills.
You said a sophomore?
Yeah, sophomore this upcoming year.
Okay.
I think what I'm most excited about is being able to connect with others, because you usually don't get to like talk with a lot of people outside your district, so I think it's really cool.
Great. All right, next up is Ava.
Hello, I'm Ava Benson. I'm a rising senior at Henderson County High School, and I'm most looking forward to just like meeting new people and making a difference in our education system.
Wonderful. Glad to hear from you. Next up, we have RJ Osborne.
Yeah, I'm RJ Osborne. I'm going to be a junior next year at Whitley County High School, and I've just never been a part of anything like this, and I'd just like to see how something like this works and how this stuff gets done.
Wonderful. We're glad to have you, RJ. Next up, we have Gabriella.
I'm Gabriella. I go to Williamstown Independent, and I'm a sophomore now, I guess. And I'm just excited to make a lasting impact on the school system and really try to make things better.
Wonderful. All right, next we'll have Cameron Breyer.
I'm going to be a senior at DuPont Manual High School next year in downtown Louisville, and I'm really excited to get to connect with people throughout Kentucky and hopefully have an impact.
All right, welcome, Cameron. Next up, we have Austin Vidito.
I think I'm frozen because it says I'm frozen on here, but I hope y'all can hear me.
We can hear you.
I'm gonna be a sophomore next year at the J. Graham Brown School, and I'm excited to just hear some new opinions on like the state of education in Kentucky.
Okay. It looks like I have one more. Carly Watts.
Hi guys, I am Carly. I'm an upcoming sophomore, and I'm just excited to meet all kinds of new people from around Kentucky.
Welcome, Carly. All right, did I miss anybody else? Any of our new students that are joining us that are on this sheet? Looks like Jocelyn.
Yes, my name is Jocelyn Reddick. I'm a rising senior at Southbourne High School in Bowling Green, Kentucky, and I'm just excited to join all the other students in representing the student body of Kentucky in the education system and just getting involved.
Wonderful. And then we have Cody. Looks like Owen Cody.
Yes. Hello, my name is Owen Cody. I'm a rising senior at McCracken County High School in Paducah, and I'm looking forward to improving the voice of students with low economic status throughout the state of Kentucky.
Right. Did I miss anybody else? All right, we can go over to our next slide. And these students will be joining the students that are listed on this sheet. We had already done a little bit of a roll call, but for our new incoming students, this is who you will get a chance to work with this year. Like I mentioned, we had a large number of seniors that have graduated, are graduating. We'll hear a little bit more from them a little bit later, but just wanted you to see that we do have quite a really great representation from across the state. I'm very excited that you all have applied to be part of the advisory council. And I'm going to call on our commissioner if he's still, I missed his video, but our commissioner should be next. And let him just do a little welcome and get some thoughts from him.
Hi, thank you, Tony. Good morning, everyone. It's great to see all of you. Welcome to the new members. We're excited about working with you and delighted that you have applied and made it onto the student council. As Tony mentioned, it's a very competitive process to be on this group. And I think that's because of the work that previous student advisory council members have done and the prominence that they've raised this group to around the state. You may have seen policy papers and around mental health or school safety that have been put forth and attention this group has gotten in the news. So we've been really proud of the work that the Student Advisory Council has done over the past couple of years. And I'm frequently asked by colleagues around the country about how we do this. How do we have such a powerful student group? And really, it's a testament to all of you and the support that Tony and her team provide to this council. Also, thanks to those members that are rolling off of the advisory council. We are grateful for all that you've done and so glad to have had the chance to meet you. We often continue to interact with members of our advisory as they go on into college or the workforce or years ahead. Several of them consider careers in a professional life in education. So we're happy to support you with that. If you ever need any support or information from us, we're happy to provide that. And because oftentimes this experience sort of sparks an interest that people have in either teaching or working in educational administration or education policy in some form. And we're excited about that and would love to continue to see some of you move forward with that path and support you with it. And then also, to those members that are returning, we're glad to see you again. This is a really talented group that you see their names on the screen here. Several of you have, in addition to just working with this group, you've also stepped out and have supported several other groups that we have going on. So we're grateful for that. So all in all, this is one of my favorite advisories to interact with because the perspectives that students have often are not in conversations that we have around education policy in the state. And I think this group is doing something very impactful to correct that or reverse it. So we're proud of the work this group does. Just a couple of things that are happening at KDE. We continue supporting, the work doesn't stop at our agency in the summer. We work all year round here. So we have a number of different advisories and groups that are meeting through the summer. We actually have a couple of hearings going on at the Department of Education today. And we have our local superintendent's advisory committee meeting today. And that group has the responsibility of weighing in and giving their opinion on any regulations that come before the State Board of Education. So we have a State Board of Education that is the governing entity over the Kentucky Department of Education, and the state board members are my boss. And so I work for them, but the local superintendent's advisory weighs in on policy considerations related to regulations, just as before they go to the State Board of Education. One of the things that they're working on right now is the state law says that group, the local superintendent's advisory committee, and myself, we work together to decide the cut points in the data on the state assessment. So these are the lines in the data that determine if you're proficient or basic or developing, whatever those lines may be. We work together to set those. We typically have used a broad community group. We pulled people together from all sorts of different perspectives on the state and put them in the room with these folks called psychometricians, which is a fancy word for an expert on testing. Put them all together and have them sift into that data, and they recommend those cut points to us. And then we worked with that local superintendent's advisory committee to establish those. So if you ever wanted to know how you got the label in the test that whatever you got or your school got, where those lines are set, that's this group that is involved in doing it. Other things that we have going on at the department right now, we of course have put out guidance related to those laws that were passed in the last legislative session that had something called an emergency clause. So if a law gets passed in the legislature and they affix an emergency clause to it, it means it goes into effect immediately once either the governor signs it or the legislature overrides the governor's veto. So we had several of those this past session, several laws with emergency clauses. And so we've issued guidance around all of that. And then we have other laws that are taking effect, will take effect at the end of June when the new fiscal year starts in July 1. So we are also working to issue and provide guidance on that. Guidance is the department's professional opinion on something. It doesn't have any force of law, but we often try to go through best practice and research and consider how new laws will impact schools in Kentucky, given our constitutional structure and how schools operate in Kentucky in the historical context here, and provide some guidance to school districts on here's how you should think about implementing this, or some things for you to consider as you implement new laws. So we have had a busy legislative session last year. We're looking forward to another busy legislative session upcoming. This next session will be a budget year. So that will increase the stakes and interest in what happens legislatively coming up. You have our Executive Director of Governmental Relations, Brian Perry, is on with us. You'll get a chance to meet him a little later. Brian will be on periodically to update you on legislative happenings and things that are occurring in the legislature. I know that that's a major area of interest for everyone, so I won't steal any of Brian's thunder, but he does a great job representing the department and providing insight into that. With that, Tony, I'm going to hop off here and head over to that superintendent's meeting. I just wanted to take a few minutes to say welcome and thank you, and that we look forward to working with all of you.
Thank you, Dr. Glass, and we hope to see you back as soon as LSAC's over with. Yeah, well, just before we run to Heather, I just wanted to briefly mention we have a number of KDE leadership team members. In the comments, you saw Dr. Byron Darnell. I don't know if Byron, you'd like to come on and say a couple of things, but students, you'll see a lot of, it's the commissioner's leadership team. And so these are people that are over offices or division leaders that will regularly check in and have time with you at every meeting. So what we'll do in terms of getting started for the next year is start asking you for things that you would like to hear from us. So there are questions that you have, could be ranging from, what is the Department of Education doing to recruit teachers? How can I help with, teacher recruitment efforts, things like that. We can have a discussion around those things. A lot of questions will come to Brian. The commissioner mentioned Brian Perry. He's our government relations person, and he will often be the star of the show as he gives updates on different legislation that may be happening that you might be interested about. So things that you pay attention to across the state also can give you an overview of bills that we're looking at that may impact education, K-12 education, and how it may impact the Department of Education. We usually try to give you guys an update on things like that are going on. I was trying to look down. It looks like Dr. Woods Tucker is also on the call. He's our deputy commissioner and our deputy chief and our chief equity officer. A couple of years ago, Dr. Woods Tucker kind of was our first project that we worked on with the advisory council, in which Anastasia was a young sophomore at that time, and now she's graduating and going off to University of Kentucky. Worked on a equity project. Was while we were still kind of behind the screen with COVID and school was still out. This is a project that students were able to work on, and really, really proud of the video that they put together, kind of like what does equity mean to them, and from within their own communities, and then threw together a video that we were able to share. Many of you also may know of the project our student advisory did last year. So not this school year, but the last school year. They worked with Lieutenant Governor Jacqueline Coleman on student mental health and did a lot of sessions with students across the state and on the topic of mental health, and then presented some recommendations to the legislature I guess it was about a year ago when that happened, and we're still seeing examples of student mental health things, themes that are coming from the listening and the sessions that the lieutenant governor and the students did. Thomas, did I hear you come in?
Yes, I did. Tony, you may call me. You're so extraordinary. You may give me any title that you want. And I greatly appreciate your talent for Commissioner Glass's student advisory group and the awesome work that this group has done, will continue to do. My name is Dr. Thomas Woods Tucker. I am the Deputy Commissioner and Chief Equity Officer. I am in the Office of Teaching and Learning. As Tony mentioned, I am the Commonwealth's first Chief Equity Officer. I feel like I've really grown up with Anastasia because we came in here at the same time. Of course, I'm a lot older than Anastasia and not as good looking as Anastasia. So let me make sure you all understand that. And we've done some great work with this team, and my heart has always been with students, and proud of the work that Tony and the communications area has done in promoting and elevating student voice. And so certainly congratulations to our new students. But Bentley, I feel like I've grown up with you too. This is what, year 3, I believe, Tony? Is this year 3 for Bentley?
Bentley is out today, but this will be his 3rd year. He also started as a sophomore. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So congratulations to
we have a
new
couple
members.
others. Gavin has also been around for a couple of years, and I know I'm going to start crying, y'all, because I'm like a proud mom with the kids. We really, all of us here at the Department of Education, really, you will find if you go around the building, people will ask, when is the student advisory meeting, and you'll see staff that will come on and just want to, get your feedback on something. So.
And Tony, I know Heather's coming up. Heather is also in my area of teaching and learning. We do a lot with our comprehensive school counseling program. Mrs. Bushelman is our key contact with counselors across school counselors across the Commonwealth, and we'll always ensure that we're first and foremost taking care of the heart. We're taking care of our students' mental health needs and our staff well-being as well before we get into the academic part. So we're happy that Tony has included that as a part of our check-in, and that's awesome. And again, great to work with Heather. And again, so many positive things that we have going on, and we're so proud of the work of Dr. Glass and his commitment to all of our students here in the Commonwealth. And I will try to make every meeting we have. And Tony, I'm going to jump off, unfortunately, to attend the LSAC meeting, but we'll be back on if I can. And like you, Tony, this is the favorite part of our job, working with students. So students who are headed off to college, have a great start of, or headed to work, have a great start of the new academic year, and our returning students will certainly look forward to seeing you in the fall.
All right. Thank you, Thomas. Appreciate it. All right. We'll toss over to Heather Bushelman. As Thomas mentioned, she is our program coordinator for comprehensive school counseling. She works with all of our school counselors across the state. Heather?
All right, good morning, everyone. I feel like this is wrapping up the school year, but also like the first day because we have so many new faces and returning faces. So it's very exciting. So like Tony and Dr. Woods Tucker mentioned, I'm Heather Bushelman, and I am very honored to get to join you every month for a quick mindful minute activity. We want to make sure you all are taken care of, and then strategies and can talk about issues happening within your schools, happening over the summer, because for my job, it helps me to then inform our school counselors, our school-based mental health providers, to be able to meet your needs in whatever ways possible, to make sure they are accessing you all for direct services and for social emotional, for mental health, and of course, college career readiness and academics. So I know the first thing I want to just remind you of is, I know going into summer, please be sure that without your school supports really available for the next couple of months, make sure you do have a support system in place should things come up that cause you a lot of extra anxiety or stress, or anything may happen. So just consider who is your support system, whether it's some of your peers, it's trusted adults. If you have maybe some of those local numbers you may need to call, or even give some to your peers who may go through some struggles throughout the summer. Just always keep that in the back of your minds, because even though it's exciting to be out of school, I know some of you transitioning to college, are making some big changes. So just make sure you are keeping an eye out for yourself first, because some things may happen with stress that you may not realize and cause physical ailments that you want to make sure you are just keeping a watch over, even though it's summer. So just kind of be mindful of that. So I think what we're going to do just for a few minutes is it kind of is perfect timing with all the new faces joining today. Moving forward, is this is just a quick conversation activity we used to do. I actually used to do it with my 5th graders who are about to go on to middle school, and we would talk about our legacy, and we would think about those people who have left legacies behind, whether it's somebody famous, it's somebody who is personal to you, and what that truly means. And so what I want you to think about is, now that you are leaving either your school, maybe you're moving cities. For the adults on the call, you might be moving jobs or moving yourself. For those of you obviously switching grade levels, you're going to have different students in your classes, things like that. If we were to go back to your school or back to your classes and just ask them something about you. What did you leave behind? What was your legacy? And feel free to unmute, or you can put in the chat, what are some things you would want your classmates to say about you? Looks like Peter, you've got your hand up, I think. I think I see you. Good.
Yes. Obviously, I'm not a senior. I'll be a junior next year. But I think if I were to think about what I wanted people in my school or my classroom, my friends to think about, I think the biggest thing would just be that I want them to think that or to say that I had listened to them and taken what they had said truly to heart and did something with it. And this is kind of what all the students are doing here, is taking all the listening and doing something with it. But I think that would be the most important thing, that I listened and then took that to heart.
Yeah. Okay. Great character traits and attributes. Okay. Who else?
Looks like we have Constance. Go ahead.
Oh, there she is.
Let's see here. Let me get my camera on. I think that I'd want to be remembered for knowing, I want the students around me to know that I truly care about them and their voice and their well-being, whether that's through, just like seeing them in the hallway and being like, hey, have a great day, or, my work on the Johnson County Board of Education. I just want to be remembered for always having the student voice as my number one priority.
Yeah. All right,
Sounds like.
Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, sounds like you want to be a great advocate for your peers and your student body, Constance. Yeah.
Looks like Nicholas.
Oh, the only thing I'd say about trying to be an advocate or place a legacy, both of my grandparents on my dad's side were public teachers for 40 years each. My papa taught majority history, and my grandmother was a 4th grade educator. And they taught, I believe, 42 years for my papa and 44 for my grandmother. And my dad was a board member at Paintsville for about 8 years. So public education is not only in me and how my family's always been taught at a one-room schoolhouse or a high school or a university that's always been public. But I also have a sister. She's going in the 3rd grade, so I'm always trying to look out for her, because even 3rd grade's changed from the time that I went about 9-10 years ago. So I always try and make sure that it's up to date and it's friendly and it's engaging for her, because, you know, I'm going on to my senior year, I'm hanging up my coat, but, you know, she's still going on. So that's what I've always tried to do, is make sure that she have a good path forward.
Wow. Thank you.
Wonderful. Owen?
Hello, I would like to be remembered as an intelligent, dedicated, diligent student and an informed student that combined my own views and the views of my peers on Kentucky education to establish a common ground for student voice.
Wonderful. All right, Austin?
I would probably say that that I cared, that like I was there for them when they needed it, because I know that they'd be there for me. So overall, just trying to show that I would care for them and just care for like really all the grades in the school, and just be a caring person that some people can like I care for, or like I call on and ask for help with.
Right. Seth?
I would want to be remembered as a reliable person, as a leader, that when things were going south, I was there to help them through it and to guide my peers through any situation.
All right. Looks like we have a couple in the chat. Heather, did you want to go through those, or
Yeah,
would
let
you
me
like
see.
me to? Okay.
Yeah, let's see. It looks like, oh goodness. Let me find where it starts. We have several. This is great. It looks like Seth, there he is. Okay. So he said he's a freshman, but he really wants people to think of him as somebody ready to help when they need it, someone responsible they can count on. Okay. And India put, I personally want to be remembered for my involvement. I want to leave behind my impact through involvement for not only the school, but also the community. And then Ava wants to be known as someone who saw students for their true selves and not the label society has given them. And Tanvi, I want to be remembered as someone who is trustworthy and someone that people can come to when they need help or advice. I also want to be remembered for community involvement. And then, let's see. Eliete, I don't know if I pronounced that right. I hope I did. She would love to be remembered as someone who has grown with the passage of time. And then, let's see, a couple more. Jocelyn, for me, I want to be remembered as the girl who did not give up and kept working towards my goals no matter what. I want to set the example for students to look up to. And then others are more. Carly popped up. I want to be remembered as a kind friend who is always there for someone. And then Shraman put, I want to be remembered as someone who always lends an ear and someone you can trust with your problems. Okay, wow. These are amazing. One more from Jude. I would love to be remembered as being kind and open, even if I do not know someone personally, being kind on a daily basis. And Hunter, I want to be remembered as a leader. Okay. So these are amazing, and actually more than I could have, I think, ever asked for. Very thoughtful. And I think my biggest takeaway when we have this conversation about legacy is thinking about how people feel when you're with them, and your words and your actions speaking what you want them to think about you. So all of these things you all have listed, do your words back it up? Do your actions back that up when you are with your peers, community members, other adults you may be around? Because I think ultimately that's what your legacy is we perceive ourselves to be all of these amazing things, but ensuring that our behaviors show that. So when we do move on from classes, cities, schools, whatever it may be, that legacy you all leave behind has that impact about how people feel about how you made them feel. And so everything you've mentioned, especially in your work that you will be doing with this committee that you're now on, just always be mindful of your purpose and that impact that you do want to make now on a much bigger scale, because it will be statewide, possibly not national. So, okay. So thank you all for sharing. You all had some very thoughtful answers. But I look forward to working with all of you that are new. But I will get to see you every month.
Thank you so much, Heather. We really appreciate it. You all get a chance to work with a lot of our members on our diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging team. I know that they like to do activities with students as well, and really great opportunity for you guys to get involved with different projects there. So just real quick, before we get into the council project activity, I wanted to just touch base with some of our students that have already been on the council and to maybe give a little piece of advice or things that you've enjoyed the most about the council. I think this will be helpful because obviously you, particularly our seniors, will be alumni after today. And I didn't know if there was any piece of advice or anything that you would like to offer these new students as they come on board. Anastasia, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just gonna say everybody, first, congratulations on making it on the council. I've been on the council for 3 years, and one of the first things I did was I just jumped on a project, and I wasn't even sure what I was doing. I had no clue where to start, but I had an idea. And if you have an idea, bring it up to Tony, bring it up to the commissioner, because they're always looking for a way to get the students more involved. And that's what happened, and I was able to work, with a lot of great people. And so I say take the risk, no matter what you think the reward outcome will be. It's worth it, because I've had some of the best experiences and networking processes come up through different projects. So I definitely encourage you guys to speak up and always just, if you're passionate about something, take it into your own hands and see if there's a way for you to specifically help.
Absolutely. Anastasia was, when she talks about the project, when I talk about the equity project, the equity video, that was actually an idea of hers that turned into a thing, something that we were able to promote and share throughout the department, and it was very powerful and very impactful. So no idea is silly, and we are here to support you as adults at the Department of Ed and things that you might be interested in learning more about. Go ahead, Jude. Jude is our current student member on the Kentucky Board of Education. She is getting ready to cycle off for the year, I think June 30th, right, Jude?
I believe so, yeah.
And then you will be I remember you'll be a senior. You'll be a senior next year. So she will be continuing to stay on the advisory council. She's been a great voice for us and great representation on the board. Jude, what do you have for the students?
So this was only my first year on this council, but my biggest piece of advice is never be scared to ask for help. We have so many amazing resources just at the tips of our fingers. Like Tony is one of the most amazing people ever that you'll ever meet. She provides you with so many resources and help if you need it. There's also so many other department members that will join these meetings and that will make their resources available to you. So if you have any questions, ask for help. Don't feel like you have to suppress it. And then also we've become such a community. So like we have a big group me. And so if you ever have any questions, not even necessarily related to the council itself. So if you have any projects that you're working on, or if you want to share resources or something that you're passionate about, send that in the group chat. Like everyone is everyone is passionate for the same things that you are to make education better. And even if it's something personal, we all really want to help. So although this is a formal council, don't take it as formal. Like we're all friends, we're all community. So just don't be scared to reach out, because we all want to communicate with you guys.
Awesome. That's great advice. And thank you for the kind words. I appreciate that. You will find a lot of people at the Department of Education will love to work with you guys, and depending on the projects that you decide to do during your term, your time here on the council. Some of you got a lot of freshmen right now that are going to be sophomores, so potential to, work on lots of projects if you decide to stay on the advisory council for 3 years. And that gets me to our next item, which is going to be we're going to talk a little bit about our next project and the activity that we are looking to do. How we're going to proceed with this is I am going to break up this group basically into 2 groups. And so I will be leading one group, and then Dr. Gliptis and Grider Jones. I know that you've met her. Probably many of you have met her prior to, but I know that she was on most of the interviews for some of the people that have come on as new students. She is our program, our awards and recognition coordinator, but also works a lot on this program. And so we are going to work on an activity in breakout rooms here. So give me 1 second. So Dr. Grider Jones, did you want to start off and kind of let us know what we need to do next?
Sure. So welcome everyone. I was with a group, and I'm going to, in just a moment, hand over to Peter Jefferson, who is going to sort of do some share outs from our group discussion. But thank you to everyone who was inputting into the shared document as we sort of just thought about student voice. What does it mean? What are some opportunities and strengths? What are some challenges to the idea of student voice? And just thinking about how it looks currently in some contexts maybe you're familiar with at your school level. I wanted to make sure I mentioned, especially to those new members, Dr. Meredith Brewer. She is one of the team leaders here at KDE. She's a director of education policy. And you will be connecting with her. I think she's going to follow up with you all via email, but also in future meetings as we continue to think about the idea and role of student voice in decision making. So that's a name. If you haven't met her yet, you'll get to meet her during this upcoming year as you all work and think about student voice. So with that, I'm going to toss over to Peter, who's going to share about our group discussion to just a few moments ago.
Thank you. We spent a little bit of time talking about the 5 questions, and I have a few things that we identified that are something that I didn't see a lot of in the document. The first thing that really was unique from our group was in question 3 on how could you identify the impact of student voice. And Jude had a really good point about how we can't identify it ourselves per se, that really when other people come to us and ask for advice, or when other stakeholders find that it's important to them to get a student's perspective as well. But that's when we found that student voice has had an effect, that we've been successful in trying to advocate for ourselves. Next thing that we really focused on was criticisms of student voice and how sometimes student voice is dismissed as something that doesn't have enough legitimacy or that doesn't have enough information behind it. One of the people said that they've heard in their school that students are dismissed on the basis that they might not have the best interest of the entire school in mind, or they might not have all the information they need to make proper decisions. We kind of talked about that and how working together there is the most crucial way to work through that. The final quick thing that we had that was, I think, unique from other groups is how our student voice was represented in schools. We had lots of different examples of councils and things that group students were involved in, but we really focused on how their involvement was not just being there, but also contributing in ways like voting or drafting policy, or really just contributing and not just existing in those councils. That's what we had. We had a great discussion. Thank you.
Thanks, Peter.
All right. So we also had a really great discussion. I had a little bit of glitches in terms of me trying to get people moved and stuff, but had a great conversation. I'm hoping that I can get a volunteer from room 2. We hadn't figured that out prior to coming back. So let's see if I can get a volunteer that would like to just kind of share some of a synopsis of what we talked about in room 2. And if not, I'm more than happy to kind of jump in, but would love to hear from a student. All right, I guess it's going to be me. Cue the music. So just lots of great discussions about each of the questions. I think that, there were some great examples of how they could identify, what student voice was in their building when it came to, getting something that they would like to start or like to create within their own school building. There were some examples there. Overcoming fear of, I think overcoming fear is a big challenge by, I mean, everybody. I think about myself before you come up with some idea that you want to ask, in my case, the commissioner or one of our associate commissioners. Sometimes there is that fear because there's that unknown of what could happen. And so I think that that's something that's very real when it comes to student voice and can be seen maybe sometimes as a barrier that you really want to do something good and you want to come up and say, hey, I think this would be a great idea, but you got to get over that kind of fear. So there was that, but some great examples that were shared in some schools about things that they've been able to bring to their principal or to their teacher, or something that, would benefit other students. Also, when you come and talk about question number 5, or I think it was question number 4, about the barriers, what is a barrier? And I think it's, just the importance of having students in the conversation and having that seat at the table, and others that don't recognize the importance of that. So whether it could be their own parents, it's not just at the school level, but parents and family members, thinking that they're just a kid, the quote, just a kid. And, you don't know enough to be able to give your opinion on something like that or something like that's the kind of feedback. But again, in giving an example, I can maybe shout out Johnson County. She gave a great example of, they're building a new school right now, a brand new school, brand new high school is going to be built. And they, are allowing students to kind of help with the design of that school. Not just the physical space, but like, program experience and things that they want to see. And spoke about just the importance of, having, students who are going to be in those rooms, maybe probably not something that she will benefit from because she'll be a senior, but certainly something that she can help design for the future for students that'll come to the building. So, just things when it comes to that, I think were some great examples and had a great discussion going.
I'll close up I think our group also had a great discussion, and I know in the both discussing out loud, but also in the identifying and filling out the Google document. So in terms of next steps, this for those new members, this idea of student voice and examples of student voice advocacy throughout the local level, at the state level. This is an idea that the group had earlier this semester identified as a project they wanted to dive deeper into and explore. So this was a beginning first step in that direction. And like I said, Dr. Brewer will be joining at future intervals, at future points to discuss and kind of help guide and think about this idea as you all kind of embark on this as a group activity. So thank you all for all of your brainstorming and thoughts there. And that's the end of the activity for now, but not the end of the discussion. So just know that we will revisit this in the August meeting. So thank you. And I will just move to the next step and hand it back over to Tony. So thanks, everyone.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Grider Jones. Appreciate it. And I think we will put our slides back up because I think our next item on the agenda is our current Kentucky Teacher of the Year, Mandy Perez. Mandy. Oh, wait, maybe not. Hold up. Sorry, before Mandy gets here, I did, she Lip to Stan is super quick. I said, can you please share a couple pictures that we have of our graduates? And so we're gonna have a little bit of a slideshow here. I'm not sure how many she was able to pull. I know that we have several that have joined us, but I'd like to share those out real quick.
I just was able to do the one, but we will continue to collect those. And so please, as it notes here on the next slide, please make sure to send those to Audrey Lamb on our team so we can share those out and give recognition to our graduating seniors.
All right, congrats, Gavin. I've been watching lots of people's Instagrams and they've been great photos. Just really neat to see you guys as you celebrate these great moments of life. All right, and Mandy is on and ready to go because she knows she's next. Mandy.
Hello, guys. I'm going to attempt to share my screen here. Tony and Glippy, do you guys have that video right? So I don't need to show it from my end.
I think, yes, the Glip to San, are you going to try to share it?
No, I don't need it right this second. I just want to make sure.
Oh, got you.
Yes.
Okay, we're good to go. Yes, we've got it.
Okay. So let me see if I can.
You're going to want to make sure you skip the ads on that before and then just have it ready to go. Looks like you are sharing or somebody's sharing a screen.
Is that me?
Yes.
Okay. But that's, I don't know what I'm sharing exactly.
Okay, there we go. We're back to just a regular screen. We'll get back to the, I just want to give you a short intro because many of you have not met Mandy Perez yet. And she is our current 2023 Kentucky Teacher of the Year. She was our middle school winner overall. And then as many of you all may not know that we have an elementary, a middle, and a high school. And then of those three, the top winner is named. And so we have Miss Mandy Perez. She is from Crittenden County, so in Western Kentucky. And she has been spending some time. She gets to take a semester off as part of her sabbatical and has been working on a number of projects. She's been to DC, she's met the president, she's met the first lady, all of those things that, you know, are fairly incredible. She's about to go to space camp, which I think is pretty cool. And do lots of the other activities that she has in store for her as our Kentucky Teacher of the Year. And so I will toss to Mandy and see what we have, what she would like to talk with us about today.
Okay. I think maybe I've done it. I hope. Can y'all see it?
Very small. That's a little bit bigger. I think that will work.
Yeah, maybe.
I think so. Let's ride. Let it ride.
Let it ride. Okay. So, first of all, congratulations to the new students that have been nominated and accepted on the Commissioner Student Advisory Council. You guys have, you're joining an outstanding group. And to the graduates, I wish you the absolute best on your future endeavors. This council, I met in January. Actually was the very first group that I presented to, and I was mesmerized immediately by the council and the work of this council. And I have shared with every person I come in contact with across the state of Kentucky and beyond the state of Kentucky about the good work that these students do and how powerful their voices are. So kudos to the students who currently serve and to the students who are about to begin a new journey on this council. I wanted to share with you all as an update as the 2023 Kentucky Teacher of the Year, a little bit about my journey. During this journey as the Kentucky Teacher of the Year, I have often struggled with what it is exactly that I have contributed or given back to this profession that I would consider to be honorable, especially for this significant role. And honestly, most days I have felt like a complete failure. In my mind, I have had it set to believe that there is something that I need to do that is huge. There should be a defining moment that would mark my success. That has not happened for me yet in this role or on this journey. And it was just recently that I learned for myself that the things that I want to accomplish don't have to happen right now. As a matter of fact, in this role, they may take years before they unfold. And that fact is perhaps the best reward that comes with this title. Being a Kentucky Teacher of the Year has created opportunities for me in ways that make meeting those goals much more possible for me in the future. But for now, what I have been able to contribute is something that I've actually always done. Being present and speaking from my heart. Unknowingly at the time, I've been leaving my presence in spaces and conversations better than I had found them. This is the legacy that I've realized that I want to continue to focus on leaving behind, because it is a true representation of both the educator and the individual that I am. I want my presence to be felt when I am no longer here in this capacity. I want someone to say that interaction with her, it made a difference for me. That conversation I shared with her, it was meaningful. And I still think about it, even when she's not around. On this next slide, these are just a few examples of where my presence was felt and remembered along the way in this journey. In some fashion, what I had to say was heard, and my words lingered in the back of someone's mind as they were recalled, because they were meaningful and they came from my heart. And this, even though it may be small to some people, it has been my best contribution in earning this title. And I'll give you just a second to take a look there. Actually, I believe Tony may have been my best contribution with her tweet for me when I actually got to speak to the First Lady. Tony tweeted out my photo there that a cohort member actually took of me. Thank the Lord, because I had actual evidence that I actually did speak to the First Lady. That's another thing, guys.
I have to
Yes.
I have to say, just watching, and this happens with the students every year as well. I think back to the first time I was involved with the Student Advisory Council, and then also just our Teachers of the Year as well. To watch the growth is really, it's just amazing. And I remember you saying, like, I'll never be that person to stand up and talk. Like, I'm always the one that's in the room listening. And I hope that that example of you standing up, and that's a great photo. I'd love to, I'll put it in the chat so you guys can actually see it much bigger, because it is quite impactful. To think that our Teacher of the Year was able to get up and share something from Kentucky on that was important to her and is important to the teaching profession. So I just wanted to give you a shout out for that, because I'm so proud of you for doing that.
Thank you. And so it goes without saying to the next slide, guys. This is my message from me to you all. It is said that, and I have learned this, as a matter of fact, for myself in this journey, our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Because let me tell you, I have thought that time and time and time again. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that frightens us the most. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, to be talented, to be fabulous? Actually, you should be asking yourself, who are you not to be? Your playing small does not serve the world. There is nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people will not be insecure around you. My whole entire life, I have hid behind the scenes. I did not want recognition. I did not want to be in the spotlight. None of that was important to me. I was hiding what I offered the most to the world. Don't do that. Offer the world what you have. Show your talents. We are all meant to shine. It is not just in some of us. It is in all of us. As we let our own light shine, we consciously give other people permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others. I would just like to leave you with, allow the universe, guys, to use your presence to make a difference and be the change. Go out into the world and do good. Allow your presence to be felt and shine your light. And I already know without a shadow of a doubt, based upon you and all of you that I have met, you are the change makers and you are going to make a huge impact on this world.
Did we want any of the students have any feedback on that item? Any questions for Mandy? Sarah?
I just wanted to say a big thank you to Mandy also for coming to speak at my female leadership conference earlier. I believe it was April. She did a fantastic job, and the speech that she gave was phenomenal. And the things that she said touched me, because she told me that I said things to her that made an impact on her, and I wouldn't believe in a million years that it would, and it did. So thank you, Mandy, for that. It really made my whole year, you coming to this. And I absolutely loved the speech that you gave today and the video that you just showed. It was really impactful. I think it was perfect. I think you did an amazing job choosing it. It was just perfect for the meeting today. So thank you.
Thank you, Sarah.
Yes. And Mandy will continue on. She's our Kentucky Teacher of the Year until December. She will be returning to the classroom this fall, and we may have to take a field trip to go visit her one day. But I know I'm planning on gonna go visit. But she will have other duties that she will have for the rest of this year as we work on closing out the rest of the year. I know she's got Space Camp coming in July, and a new Teacher of the Year ceremony in September, and all of that stuff. Looks like Nicholas, you have your hand up.
Yes, I just wanted to thank Ms. Perez for her dedication of being an educator. Like I said earlier, my papa and my grandma were both teachers for 40 years each. And when you say be the change, they tried to be the change in their work. My grandmother, before they had a family resource center at Johnson Central, she provided for her kids whatever they needed. My papa would get them odd jobs. I mean, he would make them cut grass if the grass was cut yesterday. I mean, he would make sure that those kids had the skills and the education necessary to succeed. And I think you've done that very well. And I thank you for your dedication. I know it's not easy. I know there's days, weeks, and months that are not, but I really appreciate the work you've put in and to represent Kentucky on a national scale.
Thank you so much.
Guys, and you can always, when we have our monthly meetings coming up later this year, if you'd like to hear back from Mandy, just let us know. We can schedule her to come back on, and I bet you she'll come back on, probably let us know how the school year is going. Maybe we'll get her in October or November. Would be awesome. So thank you so much, Mandy. We appreciate you and your time this morning.
Thank you, guys.
All right, so then this is our last part of the meeting. We probably will get out of here a little bit earlier today. I just wanted to go over a couple of opportunities, and we do have some friends in a different office from our Office of Assessment and Accountability that I believe are on the call. I'm not sure, is it Helen? Yes, there she is. So before I'll go over the information on the slide, and then Helen will feel free to add. I'm not sure if Arnav has been able to come back on. I know he was participating in some graduation festivities this morning. I think there was a practice or something. So we are putting an invitation out for you to participate in KDE's 2023 Accountability Standard Setting Committee. So our Office of OAA invites a rising junior or a senior. So this fall would be a junior or a senior from the Advisory Council to serve on our 2023 Accountability Standard Setting Committee. Helen will explain a little bit more about what that means, but I will let you know that we will provide travel reimbursement to include hotel mileage and meals. But you need to be available on the following 2 dates. We will have an exit slip when we conclude this meeting, and so you can indicate your interest there. I will let you know that last year Arnav Dharmagada was the representative, and I'm sure Helen can tell you how valuable he was in this process. So when we talk about accountability, we're talking about these are basically setting, well, I'll let Helen explain because I don't want to overspeak, but I'll explain more from Arnav's experience. Helen, go ahead and share and talk about what this means and why it's important for us to have a student at the table.
Okay, great. Thank you so very much, Tony. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, great. So first of all, I want to just say good morning. My name is Helen Jones, and I am the Education Administration Program Manager in the Division of Assessments and Accountability Support. I just truly want to welcome all of the new members of the Advisory Council and welcome back all the returning members, and to the students who are moving on to greater adventures. Thank you for your service. As everyone has said so eloquently today, your voice is so critical to this agency, not just the agency, but to students in Kentucky, as well as the communities in Kentucky, because what you do in serving in this capacity impacts our community. The reason why I'm here today is because OAA is in the process of planning for the accountability standard setting for the change component. And we need a student to participate in this process. The commissioner mentioned how he works with LSAC to actually receive the recommendation that this committee will move forward in terms of stakeholders. So in order to do this, last year we had in September, we had a group of stakeholders, which included members from this advisory. Arnav met, he was part of this committee. They met to discuss the cut scores for what is designated as status in the which is status on the indicators for the overall performance ratings in Kentucky's accountability system. So this year, we have to now include change for each indicator as required by state statute. This is part of the requirement. And in order to do this, we really and truly need to have a student voice, because you bring a unique perspective that other stakeholders will not have. We'll have representatives, as we'll have parents, we'll have teachers, we will have other community leaders. But again, the student voice brings such a unique perspective that if we don't have you guys, we don't have that complete representation of our community. So as Tony mentioned before, the process from last year was very successful. This year, we're moving forward with a very similar process, but the difference this year is the fact that we will need to have 2 work sessions. One of the, we do also always receive feedback, but one of the part of the feedback that we received from last year was that there wasn't quite enough time to get into all of everything and process all the information. So as a result, and this is so critical moving forward, that we have 2 dates. The first one is June 22nd. And the times for that is it's an all-day session. It's in person. We will have travel reimbursement for that day, as well as hotel. All of that will be taken care of by this process, within this process. So the first day is June 22nd and 23rd. So that's the first session. And the 22nd date is from 8:30 to 4:30. And then the 23rd date, hopefully will be done by 2, but it's a little shorter session.
All right.
And then, can you
Go
guys
ahead.
hear me? Can you still hear
Yes,
me?
we can.
Oh,
Yep.
okay. And then the second date that we need is September 13th, 14th, and 15th. And those dates are a little bit longer. So the first and second date, which is the 13th and the 14th, the sessions will start at 8:30 and we'll probably go until 4:30. And then on the third, we'll hopefully have a little bit of a shorter session that day too. But again, if you're interested in participating in this event, we will need your commitment for both dates, because what takes place in the first session will be impacted by what happens in the second session. So we need you to be, if you're interested, we really would hope that you would consider committing to both days.
And then just in case you guys are wondering, obviously the June meetings, you will not be in school, but those September meetings you will. And so, of course, we can provide you with a wonderful excuse from the Commissioner of Education, pretty good excuse, if you ask me, to take back to your school to excuse you. It should not be counted against you as an absence. And so we can work with your school on that as well. So again, if you're interested in this opportunity, there will be an exit slip, and towards the end, we'll put that in the chat here in just a moment, and just indicate your interest there, and then we will be back in touch with you. Audrey put a link to a story that we just posted in Kentucky Teacher. It is about Arnav and kind of his journey and just the things that he's been able to do, not just as a student advisory member, but as a member, it's just a member of his school community. And one of the things that I mentioned he did was serve on this accountability standard setting committee. And in this column, or in this story that was written, it talks a little bit about why he felt like that was such an important process to be part of. So feel free to read that article. And then also, just for you guys to know, KentuckyTeacher.org is our official, it's kind of our official publication of the Department of Education. And there's lots of information on that website, in addition to our home website, that has stories about news that's going out and features, things like that, that you might want to get used to visiting. Is our Kentucky Teacher website. Has a lot of information about scholarships, information for teachers, really geared towards that K-12 education group. So feel free to check that out. As members of the Student Advisory Council, you'll be submitted to where you'll be getting some news releases from us, so you'll be able to keep up with things that we send out. But we don't always send out feature stories. So like this story on Arnav, we did not send out as a press release. It's just on the feature section of Kentucky Teacher. So
Tony, can I say one thing about Arnav's?
Sure.
Last year, I was present for the entire meeting last year, and he made his presence known. They break up into smaller groups for part of the discussion in terms of the whole process, but his voice was so critical. It actually had such an impact on how some of the things that took place, and he just did such a great job of just making sure that people heard him, and it really did have an impact on the process. So your voice will be important. I was sat in on some of the sessions, and I heard some of the students say that sometimes you're not heard. But trust me, in this process, your voice will be heard, and it is needed. So I just wanted to add that.
Yeah, Helen is a great. I remember sitting in on that too. Right now we have our local. The reason the commissioner sits in on this meeting the entire time. However, we have that LSAC meeting going on. And so we have, at the Sauer Building today, a group of superintendents that are, on that particular advisory council. And, you'll be on this council, whoever the student is will serve with, superintendents, other stakeholders. There's parents. There's a parent that usually has a seat at the table as well. And it's just a great opportunity for leadership. And, if you don't know a lot about assessment and accountability coming in, it doesn't matter. They'll help you through that process. You probably know a little bit about it because you have taken our state test for many, many years. And at this point in your life, you should be almost done with taking the tests that we offer and how schools are being held accountable and things like that. So it's a good process to be part of. And if you have that time commitment, just let us know in the exit slip. Helen, did you have anything else you'd like to share?
No, but I'm just looking forward to working with you guys. It is so exciting. This being a former teacher and not always having an opportunity to have that face-to-face with students as much, it's such an exciting opportunity, and I'm looking forward to working with the students of Kentucky. So thank you guys again for your willingness to be a part of this.
Awesome. That's great. Thank you, Helen. Thank you so much. Hold on one second. I'm looking at the. All right. So our next item is, I just want to give you guys an update on, so this is one of the stories and we sent out as a press release. Just a shout out to Augusta Independent student, Erica Kegley. She's a senior there in Augusta Independent. This is her doodle here that you can see. She participated in the Doodle for Google competition. It's a national opportunity to have your drawing on a Google homepage and comes with some scholarship money. And so the voting took place for about a week, and I believe the finalists are going to be announced today at some point, and the winner will be selected on June 6th. What a beautiful piece of artwork that she created. This was it was about who inspires you, and you can read more about that story. We do have it on Kentucky Teacher, but she drew her inspiration from her mother. So just a great story, great example of great work that students are doing across the state. And as a member of the Student Advisory Council, we often ask you, what's going on in your school? Can you share with us examples of, really cool things and neat learning opportunities that you have? And that you'll be asked to do that often. So we really appreciate hearing about opportunities that students are participating in their either in their school or their home district or in their county or even in their region. So congratulations to Erica Kegley. Next slide, please. Wanted to also let you know that 4 Kentucky students have an opportunity to win, $529 each by participating in a summer reading program. So there's information here on this slide. The slides will also be provided to you at the end of the meeting. You'll get an email from Dr. Grider Jones with the exit slip, as well as the information that you've received during this call. And the slides will be part of that. And we have information on that also on our bulletin board, which is on Kentucky Teacher as well. And then we'd like to also let you know about Kentucky's career and technical student organizations. While I kind of go over this, would just like to get a show of hands. How many of you guys are involved? How many of you are currently involved in a CTSO? If you are, just go ahead and raise your hand. I won't call on you, but just out of curiosity, we are really wanting to just get the word out. We're doing a great effort to tell more stories about our CTSOs. And this is for high school students to just explore different career and technical student organizations. They're nonprofit career-based groups. Each CTSO in Kentucky aligns with the career cluster. And the offerings vary statewide, but there's organizations specifically for students interested in things like business and agriculture, education. We have Ed Rising, all our FFA, health sciences, technology. And so if you are interested in joining your CTSO, ask about it at your high school level, but you can also visit the Department of Education's CTSO webpage for more information. And over the next year, we're going to be really building out and telling more stories about these CTSOs. And so those of you that are a part of that, India, Austin, and Gabriella, thank you for raising your hands. We may be reaching out to you. You may be hearing from Caleb sometime soon. And then last up is our list of, we've got these all firmed up. And this is our schedule for the next year. Our first meeting of the 2023-2024 School Student Advisory Council will be August 22nd. It is virtual. And I will tell you that if you do have virtual meetings, they always run from 9 to 11:30 a.m. Eastern Time. So that'll always be the time for your virtual meetings that are held here on Teams. We have 3 in-person meetings that are scheduled. Those will be here in Frankfort. Those will be from 9 a.m. Eastern to 1 p.m. Eastern, just to give you an idea of that. I know that many of you have already signed your forms indicating that you are clearly interested in being on the advisory council. Our returning students will be asking some more information as we gear up a new web page that kind of tells a little bit more about each of our students on the advisory council. And so we'll just keep an eye out for your email over the summer. We'll also be in touch with you about some of the work that we did today was on student voice. And the reason that we did that is because that was what was selected as the project that we will be working on. And I say we, as in the Student Advisory Council. This is this will be a student owned and put together project. We're not really sure how it'll lay out yet, but that is why we kind of just did this brainstorming with you guys today. We'll be sharing the feedback and the information that we received with Dr. Meredith Brewer. You'll get to meet her, and she will be working with you hand in hand with this project, as will the commissioner and Glipta San on my staff and other people in the communications team as well. So really excited to see what happens. Last year at this time, we announced that we were going to perhaps work on a project about school safety. Hard to believe that was a year ago. And in January, our students presented that plan to the media. And I will say, out of all of the events that I've had media attend, we had a lot of media in the building that day. We also had Representative James Tipton, who's on our House Education Committee, that was in the audience that heard these recommendations from the white paper. So it just goes to show that, ideas do become a reality, and things that you can offer as feedback or study for others to learn from. And so we'll see what happens with this particular topic. We're really excited about it and think that everybody has a lot to bring to the table. Does anybody have any questions before we log? I think that was my last slide. It is. Anybody have any questions? We'll leave that slide up. And just like I said before, you're going to stay tuned to your email. You'll get an exit slip with a copy of this PowerPoint presentation. For those of you who are new to the council, we always include a link to the meeting. So in case that you missed it or you need to go back and listen to a portion, we'll have that available as well. Press release on today's meeting. I appreciate everybody coming and for your time this morning. We'll let you go about 15 minutes early. I'm really excited to work with all of you, and I hope you all have a safe and wonderful summer. And to our seniors, we're certainly going to miss you a lot and definitely need to keep in touch as part of our alumni. Thank you all.